Hey, good morning. Good to see you. Another God moment for you today. Today I want to talk to you about James, the epistle that was written by James. And it's a great book, wonderful read, but it's great instruction. It's a real practical book. And it starts out in chapter 1 in verse 2. It says, count it all joy, or consider it all joy, or look at things in a way that will accumulate joy for you. And then it says why. It says, count it all joy when going through various trials. And trials are all those things in life that just come against us and beat us up and wear us out, wear us down, frustrate us, make us want to give up, quit. Trials are those things that are just weight. That weight that Jesus says, cast your cares upon me. Those trials. Well, it says, count it all joy when going through various trials, knowing. So you're going to count it all joy because you know something. You don't count it all joy if you don't know something. So he says, this is what you know. Count it all joy when going through various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces something. It tells you that the trial is producing something through your faith. That's crazy that God just has this great remedy, this solution to every problem on earth. And he says, count it all joy when going through various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance or patience. And then he says, but let the patience that it's producing have its perfect result, that you would be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. And what does it mean to be perfect and complete? Well, nobody's perfect and nobody is complete, but in the Greek it kind of reads that you might be mature and that you might be thoroughly equipped. So we want to be mature in handling a trial so that it builds patience. And that's the joy in the trial, is knowing that this is producing something, that through this trial we're going to gain maturity. As a little child, children are immature. Why? Because they haven't lived long enough to gain patience. And the reason why they're immature and they're grumpy and grouchy and they're brats is because they're not being patient in the situations they're facing. They're new at it. It's a new experience, so they have no coping skills to deal with the trials that they're going through. And you might look at it like little trials, but to a little kid, it's a big deal. But they don't have the patience or the maturity to handle it. So that as you grow and as you mature, you gain this ability through patience to handle situations more effectively and more productively and more of a greater outcome. But it says that you'll be perfect and complete. You'll be mature and thoroughly equipped. Now, why do we want to be thoroughly equipped? Because a trial is like a war. It's a spiritual battle we go through when we face a trial. So we need to be equipped to handle it. To go into any endeavor ill-equipped really gives you a bad outcome. So going into any situation fully equipped gives you a good outcome. A mountain climber scaling cliff walls wants to be fully equipped. To not be fully equipped, it could be a tragedy. It could be fatal. So being equipped is a big deal. So we go through the trial and we know that we're going to gain patience. And we know that the patience that we're gaining is going to be producing us this maturity and this ability to be thoroughly equipped. And it says that we'll be lacking in nothing, meaning that when the next trial comes, we'll be fully equipped. There'll be no lack to face that next trial. And, then right after that, the verse says, but if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. And in the Greek, it doesn't read if, it reads since. So In the Greek, it really reads, since we all lack wisdom, he says, let us ask God who gives to all, not some, all, liberally, meaning all you need, and without reproach, meaning he's not prejudiced who he gives it to. Whoever asks for wisdom, he'll give it to them, regardless. Regardless. But then after that it says, but let him ask in faith, not doubting. He says, he who doubts is like the waves of the sea being driven and tossed to and fro. And if you ask the Lord for patience and doubt that he'll give it to you, he says in that chapter that you're not going to get it if you don't believe he's going to give it to you. So, think about that. When I ask you to think about it, it's just not a phrase I'm throwing out there. I mean it. Think about that. Watch it again if you need to. Also, why don't you subscribe to the channel, push the button that says like, and let me know what you're doing. Send me a buzz. Adios. See ya.